What's your favorite genre, and why does choosing just one feel harder than picking your next book? Today, I'm using the Couture favorite genre stencil to make a fun set of bookmarks that every book lover will want to tuck between the pages. Hey everybody, it's Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts. Welcome to the Stencil Sunday YouTube collaboration hosted by Funky Junk Inspiration and the Painted Peach by Mary. You can follow along on the entire playlist to see everyone's amazing projects. There is a link in the video description. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you love this project, and I will see you next time. Let's get started. We have all of our supplies. I always have a tendency to start a project thinking I have all of my supplies out, and I don't, but we've got our bookmarks. So they come in a pack of 4. I'll talk about that one in a second. We've got our transfer or our stencil, and this is linked in the video description. These are linked in the video description. Got a couple of different paste colors, my squeegee, have my handy dandy fuzzing cloth, paper towels just in case because I'm always messy. So I think that should be everything we need. The fun part about these bookmarks is they are super quick. Now we're going to do something different today than what I normally do. I don't particularly love the look of MDF as a background in and of itself. So I typically prime the bookmarks and then paint them. But I've never actually made one just using the MDF and not actually doing that. So we're going to do that today. Forcing myself to try it, see what they look like. I have a feeling it probably kind of depends on what color paste you're using. And I have colors for all 4 of them, so we can do all 4 because, again, these are super quick. I'm going to cut these apart because that's just easier for me to manage. And then I will put them, once I've washed them and put them on their backer sheet, then I will just put them all back in the sleeve. I am also going to start doing something that I used to do and then got away from it, which is writing on the back what goes with what. Because that way they fit the way they're supposed to. I used to do this, then I stopped cutting my transfers apart. And then I went back to cutting my transfers apart, but stopped doing this. So I've been a little all over the place. But when I am in mass production mode, and I have a whole bunch of transfers to wash at one time, and a whole bunch of loose backer sheets sitting around, I have found that when I go to put them away, not knowing for sure which backer sheet goes with which transfer, if it's something I've cut apart, is kind of a problem. So we are back to here. So I'm going to take this off the backer sheet. Normally I don't have this much problem with it. There we go. And we're going to fuzz this just a little bit. You do not need a fuzzing cloth to do this. I really do like these because they're microfiber on one side and terry cloth on the other. So you can use it as a fuzzing cloth and to dry your transfers if you don't want to just let them air dry. So you need to reuse one or your space is limited, you know, in where you're washing them. You can use your fuzzing cloth to dry it as well. If you don't have a fuzzing cloth, just make sure whatever you use is not going to leave fibers. So microfiber or terry cloth works perfect. Do not use paper towel. All right. I'm going to get this on here. And then use this. So this is called Home. This was actually the April color of the month. The August color of the month is this in a shimmer, which is really pretty. And I'm kind of wishing I would have ordered it. So we might have to figure out in the next couple of days if there's something that I need. Because of course I went in and put an order in today. I did not order the color of the month. And now I'm kind of regretting that. So stir that up a little bit because I haven't used it in a while. And I normally have water down here with me to put things in right away, but I don't. So clean that off just a little bit. And then we're going to take my squeegee. We're going to cover all that negative space. Try to make sure I don't go off the edge of my transfer and get paste on the bookmark itself where I don't want it. And we're going to peel that up nice and slow. I do like that. That blue does stand out. And these are so quick and easy. If you like giving bookmarks as gifts, there are several bookmark transfers available. So I will list those, including some Christmas ones. And so if you're already starting to think about that, I wish we would, for those of you who are fans of the Chalk After Dark collection, I do wish we would get some After Dark bookmarks. Not sure that we've ever asked for that, so maybe I should go into the group and ask for that. There is that one. And then, you know, I have the tassels to put on it, and I have sleeves. I usually just put the sleeves in for mailing or wrapping because this is going to hold really well. If you're concerned about the paste scraping off, you can cover this with gator hide, or you could spray it with a spray sealer or even clear spray paint. And, you know, that's going to give it that added layer of protection. So there's that one. And we're just going to repeat the process. And I kind of just want to experiment and see what the different colors look like on this MDF, how well they show up. A little something on the back of that right there. There. Come on. Line this one up. Sometimes I have to look in the camera to see whether or not I'm lined up right. That looks a little bit better. And then I have some shimmer crimson. Both of these are getting kind of low. I'll put this above the trash. Yeah, this one might be lost to me. No, not necessarily. I think you're still okay. I think you're still okay. Where is my little bit of water? So if you have a jar of paste that has dried out or is starting to dry out, you can reactivate it with distilled water. You want to do just a little bit at a time because you don't want to get it too wet, make it too soupy. But there's several projects worth of paste still in that jar. Now the shimmer pastes have a tendency to be a little more forgiving than the matte pastes, in my opinion. So probably didn't thin that out as much as I should have. Although it is getting, like, I'm getting flakes everywhere, so I got to be careful about that too. And then this one is probably about the same. That one's probably not as dried out. So peel that one. That looks pretty good. I was a little off center there for sure. But that is often what handmade looks like. Not perfect. There's that one. This real quick. That little vacuum thingy is great. I love it. Helps keep the workspace clean, especially when I'm working with paint jars that have like dried paint around the top, or my Mod Podge container, or if I do something with diamond dust or, God forbid, glitter. And then we're just going to do a plain white. So I figure that's going to pop really well. And if you happen to have ink, Couture ink in a color that you like, you can use ink on these as well. They're going to take a little bit more time to cure. So they might still feel a little tacky to the touch for several days after they've completely dried, because you're not necessarily heat setting it so it doesn't quite cure the same way. But that will go away, and that tacky to the touch feeling will go away. Now you could, if you have like a Cricut mini press, I would imagine that you could put it on like the lowest heat setting, let that ink dry completely, cover it with parchment paper or Teflon paper, and go over it. You're not really going to hurt the MDF if you're on that very low setting and you're not putting heat on it for very long. And that might help cure that ink a little bit faster. But if you leave it sit out for a couple of days, that ink will cure. So you really can use ink on anything. And I actually did use paste on a t-shirt and heat set it, and it did not wash completely off. Came off some, but not completely. That. There's that. I like that light. Pops really well. And then the last one. We'll do True Creme, and we're going to use my shimmer shadow for that because I'm really curious to see what that shimmer shadow looks like on these MDF. So I like this more than I thought I would. We'll pull them all together here in a minute. And obviously it is faster because priming them and then painting them is extra steps that puts, if not extra days in, extra hours. The other thing you could do with these is you could decoupage the bookmarks themselves and then chalk over them. Chalk over the decoupage with the transfer. And obviously you want to let that dry. I would probably use some surface wax. Yeah, well, I don't know. We might have to experiment with that. We might have to try that at some point because you'll seal the top of your decoupage with your decoupage medium. So I don't know that you would actually need surface wax on top of that to protect your decoupage paper because it's already sealed. But obviously you would want to let that dry really well and set up and stuff before you did anything on top of it. I found a smaller. Now this is one of my favorite colors. I love our shimmer. I love the shimmer shadow. And I was going to do a shimmer frost as well, but I decided to just do plain white so I could see what that really looked like. Nice and slow. And I will grab some of the ones I've done that I've painted so you guys can see kind of as a basis of comparison what that looks like. Okay, so there's all 4 of those. Super fast, probably less than 5 minutes per bookmark if I hadn't been recording and sort of talking through what I was doing and things like that. And so you've got all of your genres represented. We've got different colors, all of which I think work really well on top of this MDF. And like I said, I'll grab some of the ones that I have painted and show you all as kind of a basis of comparison what that looks like. So you could maybe decide for yourself. I do like to prime them before I paint them just because that then requires less paint, only like 1, depending on the color, maybe 2 coats for it to look like it's covered really well, and I just use the Dixie Belle Bonding Boss, as the primer. So here's a couple of different ones that I painted. This one you can't really see. It says "Do it for the plot." And then more with the flowers. The transfers themselves had a different look, almost like a watercolor look to it, so lots of distressing. But it is a very different look to paint them ahead of time versus just leaving the MDF. So I think, some of that is personal preference. Some of it might be time, like if you need to just whip something out really fast. These are really great and easy to do. And you can obviously skip the priming and painting step or decoupage or anything like that and just do them straight out on the MDF, and they look completely fine. And obviously, like I said, I'll add the tassels to those and they'll look much cuter once that's done. Okay, so that's it. I hope you all enjoyed that project. The links to the bookmarks, this particular transfer, as well as some of the other bookmark transfers, and the colors that I used or comparable colors, if the color that I used isn't available, are in the video description, as well as just some other links on where you can find me. So make sure that you check out all of the other videos in the playlist. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the video and I will come back and be sure to respond and answer to them. Make sure to follow, and subscribe. Comment, and subscribe. And make sure to come back and see us all next month. Bye, everybody.